The Amazon forest is one of the most biodiverse regions on Earth. It is also vital in regulating the planet's climate. The most protected parts of the forest are within indigenous territories. Since Jair Bolsonaro came into office in 2019, the forest and the people who care for it have been subjected to increasing violence and a rapid rise in illegal gold mining encouraged by his policies. When Dom Phillips, a journalist recently killed in Brazil, asked Bolsonaro about the threat to the Amazon, Bolsonaro denied the data.
Esses dados aí que passaram para a imprensa do mundo todo, que pelo nosso sentimento não condiz com a verdade. Até parece que ele está a serviço de alguma ONG, que é muito comum.
The Yanomami people are at the forefront of the struggle in defending their lands and resisting Brazil's colonial policies.
Aoi, ipa urihi rapauta, urihi totihi kuoma. Kuoma maki, heita ipa urihi jai, waniarema, urihi warasib maremahe, urihi tare maremahe, ma'u shami maremahe.
Following their lead, we investigated the destruction and threats on Yanomami territory along the Araraquara River due to gold mining. This video, from May 10, 2021, shows a shooting at the indigenous Yanomami community of Palimio. When the shots begin, villagers quickly run for cover. The shots came from a motorboat traveling up the Araraquara River. We went back to when the motorboat passes the village and reconstructed the scene from the footage. The shape and size of the boat, at about 10 meters long, matches the boats used by miners to transport cargo and personnel. These miners' boats frequently pass by Yanomami villages. This video from social media shows armed men in a similar boat moving along the same river. According to the news outlet Amazonia Rio, these men are members of a Sao Paulo-based gang named PCC, which have been increasingly involved in illegal mining on indigenous lands. The outlet also reports that the PCC is linked to the attacks on Palimio. In another video, we see miners filming themselves as they travel down the Araraquara River and passing the same Palimio village. The day after the shooting, on May 11th, Junior Hekurari, president of the Yanomami and Yakwana Indigenous District Council, and the police came to Palimio. While there, miners attacked the village again. Footage from that day captures the exchange of fire. Miners' boats are visible passing the village. We also see the police here. The videographer, clearly afraid for their life, stays low to the ground and quickly moves away from the exchange of fire. The attacks were reportedly in retaliation to resistance by the Palimio community against mining, including the confiscation of vehicles and fuel. These attacks were not unique. 6 incidents have been reported in Palimio in 2021 alone. This coincides with the rapid growth of illegal mining along the river. This mine, just 8 kilometers north of Palimio, first appears in March 2019, shortly after Bolsonaro took office, and has grown to almost 12 hectares since. This site is part of an expanding mining territory spread along the Araraquara River. Since Bolsonaro took office in 2019, his administration has adopted policies to encourage gold mining on indigenous land. We identified 4 strategies and an early example of each, including limiting environmental agencies, defunding environmental protection, reducing fines for environmental crimes, and legalizing mining on indigenous land outright. The timeline of these actions clearly corresponds with the increase in mining and violence in this region since his term began. On Waika's land sits the largest illegal gold mining site in Yanomami territory. Deforestation begins to appear here during the gold rush of the late 1980s and early 1990s. We used remote sensing to analyze the logic of expansion. We track vegetation in green and exposed soil due to deforestation in pink, an indicator of mining. Between 2016 and 2017, the mine begins to grow again. By 2018, mining begins expanding along the river in a decentralized pattern. Since 2019, in the Bolsonaro era, the rate of mining growth has rapidly increased. We track the growth of the mines year by year. Between 2019 and 2022, the mining area doubled, growing by more than 400 hectares, the equivalent of 560 football fields. These mines continue to grow and damage the delicate ecosystems that they rip through. Further upstream Uraraquara, we can see more recent and more rapid growth. Before 2019, mining is limited to this area. In 2019, mining begins to spread. Satellite imagery from 2019 shows signs of runoff from the mines, likely containing toxic mercury that compromises the natural ecosystems and water sources for Yanomami villages. Mines were established here entirely after 2019. The activity began with a forest clearing for an illegal airstrip. An isolated airstrip such as this could be an early sign of impending mining nearby. We've identified 8 examples where airstrips and mines are closely tied together. Apart from the river, air is the only means of moving cargo and personnel in the Amazon. In February 2020, a mine begins appearing here south of the airstrip. Within 3 months, it grew more than 4 times its size. By September, this entire stretch of land is appropriated for mining. This area represents some of the most rapid deforestation in 2020 alone on this river. In the following year, the mining area doubled yet again to 230 hectares. Deforestation in the Amazon is one of the major contributors to global climate change. In the 3 years before Bolsonaro took office, mining along the river grew by 500 hectares. In the 3 years since he's been in office, the growth doubled, ravaging a further 1,000 hectares of the Amazon forest. The NGO ISA describes this time as the worst moment of invasion since Yanomami territory was recognized 30 years ago. It also notes a change in miners' behavior since 2019, when Bolsonaro took office. Policies and rhetoric adopted by the Bolsonaro administration have allowed the destructive spread of gold mining, the increase of violence against indigenous communities, and the rapid deforestation of indigenous lands like the Yanomamis. as indigenous territories are the most protected and preserved in the Amazon forest. Upholding indigenous land rights is essential to halting climate change and environmental destruction.
Rei Tamusuaha, Rei 2000, dois Shirikaha, na Yamaku, Rei Rasakuha, Yamak na Kuyu Kuaha, Yamak Serpihio Kuaha, Awe Yamayama Mapramang Tapkuhikia, Maki Yamakirimi, Uri Teri Kami Yamak Yanamam Yamak Urihi Pasiaro, Yamak Urihi Noamu,